did you first kind of meet Coach Brown and start sort of building that friendship that you guys have?
I think in the coaching profession, you sort of know about people, and Greg Davis, who was actually the offensive coordinator at Georgia when I was playing, was the offensive coordinator at Texas, and met through him a little bit, and then obviously he offered me an opportunity to go to the University of Texas, and we had a great run.
You say you were glad to see Coach Mack back in coaching. What was it like seeing a guy, everything he's done, been out, but wanting to come back and compete?
Well, I think the biggest thing to me is a competitor, and I know him very well. Things didn't end the way he wanted it to end at Texas, and now he's got another opportunity to right that, and that's something that I'm glad he's got that opportunity.
How challenging is it to, as you get ready to prepare for them and look into them, figuring out what they'll be since you hadn't coached them so long?
There's uncertainties in every first game. Everybody's going to change a little bit schematically, whether the coaching staff was intact from the year before or not. But you study the tendencies offensively and defensively from a special team standpoint of what you think, and you kind of go from there. And you got to be ready for the unexpected and be able to adjust to those situations in game.
Does it help having gone against Phil Longo last year?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think there'll be some carryover from what they do. I mean, there'll be some subtle changes here and there, and you got to adjust to them in game.
Coach Brown kind of mentioned it already, but how important is this game for you guys in terms of recruiting and just trying to keep your input?
Well, we've made Charlotte a priority for us, and we've had some. Jalen Nichols came in mid-year from Myers Park. Ricky Sandage from Concord, Derek Boykins from Central Cabarrus is a really good player. So we've done a really nice job recruiting this area and the state of North Carolina. I kind of view it as just the Carolinas. I don't view it as North and South. We've got to do a great job in the proximity to Charlotte. There'll be a lot of Gamecocks here, so we're excited about that.
When you first took this job, did you talk to Coach Brown at all about recruiting North Carolina, since he obviously had kind of the background? I don't know how much of it you kind of had at Florida.
No, we recruited South Carolina and recruited North Carolina. We signed one of our better players we had at Florida was John Bullard out of Shelby. I mean, he's an outstanding football player. So, but we felt pretty good about our area as far as recruiting our state first of all, and then obviously the state of North Carolina second.
Well, when you recruit North Carolina, do you cover all corners of the state, or you just have pockets like Charlotte?
No, we hit the entire state. Our concentration's obviously number one in the state of South Carolina, but we go North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. We've got people, or coaches in every parts of those areas.
And you look at scheduling, I guess, over the next few years, would you like to see more of these neutral site games? You mentioned Florida and Georgia. Would you like to see, I guess, some games in Atlanta or Orlando or Jacksonville?
Absolutely. Coach Tanner, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 years ago, came to me about a kickoff game in Orlando. We've talked about, obviously every year we're in contention in Atlanta. But I think these games are great for us. They're great for our fan base and great for college football.
Is that an appeal of maybe playing in a pro stadium that you like?
Sure.
Or just going to a different
Our guys
spot?
enjoy that. I mean, they enjoy Bank of America's got one of the best venues in the National Football League, and that excites our guys.
As you've made the round of the Spurs Up tour this spring, what kind of sense are you getting from the fans based on their questions to you, their reaction to you?
You get one negative question, and now every question's negative. Yeah. So it's been awesome. It's been so positive. I hate we couldn't get to Atlanta last night. The weather was awful, and we, on a small jet, I don't like getting that stuff. But we'll see if we can't reschedule that. But it's been ultra positive. You get one negative question, all you guys want to write about's the negative stuff, man. It's amazing how y'all do that. But it's been awesome. It's been ultra positive. Our fan base is the best there is. We appreciate them, and that's a small gesture to say thank you to them.
What were the biggest lessons you took from coaching with Coach Brown, and especially kind of in light of the coach in waiting sort of situation that kind of developed there?
Yeah. Well, I think, I learned a lot. There's a lot of things that we've implemented within our organization that we did at Texas. And again, I think big picture-wise of the things he sees is the things he was able to anticipate. He does an outstanding job of those things. So we've implemented a lot of things.
Coach, you mentioned, how big these next months are. What's the message to the team, given that this is the first game and it's in Charlotte, and the last time you guys were here, they did the way you guys wanted? Well,
our guys understand that, and I think I'm going to rely on that leadership that I've talked about and that we have on our football team, because I think we've got some very solid guys that understand what it's going to take to have the type of year we want to have.
Nick Saban took 2 days off after hip surgery. Is that the longest break you think he's had since he took over?
He's a pretty driven guy, so he'll be fine. But I'm sure right now he's been a joy to be around.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your spring recruiting to this point?
I feel really good about it. I mean, Phil, I always look at recruiting as a marathon. It's not a sprint. You just got to keep grinding away. You got your first signing date in December, and then your second signing date in February. You just got to continue to just chop the wood and stay after it. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. There's nothing to get real excited about, and there's nothing to get real disappointed about right now. We just got to keep chopping away at it, but I feel real good about where we are.
What was that head coach in waiting dynamic sort of like, and what was it kind of like, moving on, I guess almost saying no to that opportunity and turning toward Florida the way you did, and what was sort of Coach Brown's kind of guidance and going, how was he kind of during that, I guess?
Well, he was great. I mean, I think it was great for both of us. Our third year, we didn't have as good a football team as we wanted to have, and I think that put some stress on both of us from the standpoint of, number one, our fan base asking, do we really want this guy to take over our program, and when are we getting rid of the other guy? So, I think from that standpoint, that created some difficulties, not between he and I, but just as far as just those questions, you get tired of hearing that. But that was part of it. But again, it was a wonderful situation at Texas, and I got a great opportunity to go to Florida, a place that I had grown up, and it was just, I think Coach Brown obviously understood the opportunity I had in front of me.
Well, how eager are you to get back in the Bank of America Stadium and put on a better performance than your last appearance?
Well, no doubt about it. It was a disgusting performance, and that falls on my shoulders. And I know our guys will be motivated this summer, as we have been in the all-season program, as we were during spring practice, to right a lot of the issues that we had there.
Coach, I know you always talking about the competitive depth. What's the feeling like just amongst the team as far as the vibe this year? Is it higher than maybe all seasons in the past because there's so much talent that's coming to Colorado?
Well, I think we have a quiet confidence about ourselves as a football team, and I think a lot of that goes to our leadership, because you really look at those guys, that's kind of who they are. And they understand that it's not. Don't talk about it, be about it, and that's what I really like about this team. There's not a lot of talk. It's just about actions of what we need to do to be successful, and that's what I really like about this team so far.
You've opened up the season, obviously, at Bank of America Stadium
Yeah.
a few years ago. Is it different, though, with being the Battle of the Carolinas?
Well, I mean, again, it's against we're going to be a well-coached football team. I know that with Coach Brown and his staff, and an ACC opponent, and a great opportunity to play in a great venue like Bank of America Stadium. Our game against NC State 2 years ago is one of the most exciting games I've been a part of. We were very fortunate to make a couple more plays at the end than they did, but it was a great game, a great setting, a great venue, and we're looking forward to it again.
Since you're not allowed to be on the road recruiting, how much have you looked at them just personnel-wise and how far into
Well,
scouting?
we look at all of our opponents. We generally start at the end of our schedule and work our way back to the front. So we've spent some time on it a little bit. We certainly will dive in much more as we move forward in June and July. But I'm spending a lot of my time evaluating recruits. I'm probably watching 30 to 35 kids a day as far as our coaches are sending names in and the guys we need to evaluate.
Are you still looking into the transfer portal at all? Is there any position where you'd like to pick up a player from the portal?
I think anytime you got a chance to improve your roster, that I think you try to. So that's an ongoing, that's an everyday process for us.
How have you seen kind of Thomas Brown impact this staff, especially on the recruiting trail?
Well, I think Thomas is having been the coordinator at Miami, offers you a big picture perspective when you're a coordinator instead of a position coach. I know Mark called the plays, but he organized the meetings, he organized the staff, and obviously helped Mark on game day. So I think that experience was invaluable for him moving forward. But he does an outstanding job. He's got a great work ethic. He is as a coach as I thought he was as a player. He is a blue collar throwback guy, and that's who Thomas Brown is, and that's how he coaches.
Coach, have you been able to talk to Dennis Daly or Ulrich as they prepare for minicamp here in Charlotte?
I text back and forth with Dennis. I have not talked to Ulrich, but text back and forth with Dennis about how proud I am of him. Here's a guy that was at Ridgeview, not really knowing what his future was going to be, and has to go to junior college. And Dennis is extremely bright, and had a great career at South Carolina, and now has an opportunity to play right here in Charlotte. Really happy and proud of him.
Any update on the offensive lineman who's been dealing with the health injuries that you've had?
No, I don't have any updates right now. We're still working through some things.
Coach, you mentioned it, and Coach Brown mentioned it, your time with him in Texas.
Yeah.
what immediate memory comes to mind when you think back on that time with him?
Winning. We won a bunch of games, and we had a great run, a lot of fun. And while you walked into the program, there was a bunch of good players there that had been well coached, and the culture of the program was outstanding. And again, like I said before, that starts with the head coach, and that was a credit to Mac and the job he had done there.
Is there an update on Taekwon Johnson at all? Taekwon Johnson? Okay.
Well, how tough is it?